future. Okay, we're recording.
All right.
Okay, so hi there. It's Eileen Guilbeault with the Real Las Vegas at Urban Nest Realty, and I am here with Jill Abelman of Inside Design. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, Jill and I kind of were talking about doing this Zoom, and we're just kind of thinking that there's quite a few subjects that we should discuss. So we have one that is like the elephant in the room right now, because we are maybe a couple days out from our mayor, Mayor Goodman, getting on national television and becoming the most famous meme of the pandemic. So, I mean,
I have many memes, but I haven't been on the TV today or on social media too much today. So,
well, the one that I'm seeing the most is Anderson Cooper with his hands up over his face.
That's what I was doing.
Well, and I think that we've actually had probably quite a few of those experiences since this all started. So, I mean, what is your take on what we saw?
Well, I was completely shocked and flabbergasted. She seemed completely flustered, not really speaking super cohesively. Like, her responses didn't always make sense. She rambled and kind of went all over the place. And just the fact that she's even considering, she's pushing to open so soon is so ridiculous, because it's a I don't know who said it, but somebody said, isn't that like a petri dish? Like, aren't we just, exacerbating the problem by inviting people from all over the world? Everybody's in close proximity, and we're just going to see what happens. And then Carolyn goes off and says, yeah, we'll be what was that? The experiment, the guinea pigs, the something or other. What? Okay, your family first, Carolyn. We'll stay inside, because I'd rather be broke than dead any day. Any day.
And then I had the conversation with some people that were like, well, her father was a doctor in New York. And I'm like, okay, but her father wasn't the one giving the commentary. She's not a physician. She's not in the medical field whatsoever. I mean, she really needs to stay in her lane. I understand being frustrated with the state of our economy and with the Strip being closed. I get it. I mean, I don't think that there's anyone who lives here that is not frustrated with that fact, but we have to be smart about it. And when you go on national television, knowing that you have no authority to open our city, and you're just going to blatantly disregard what the governor of our city is saying, or our state is saying, it just kind of sends mixed messages. I mean, how are people going to feel comfortable coming to Las Vegas if this is the image that we're portraying?
Yeah. And the thing is, if we do open too soon and have even more of a health disaster than's going on, if we turn into the next hotspot like New York City, Philadelphia, a lot of these big cities, because we have that capacity to do that, we're going to kill Las Vegas forever.
Right.
Nobody's going to come back here for years if it gets bad. And I just think it's really short-term thinking. And whoever's watching this, I would love to say to them that the majority of people that live here do not feel that way. Of course, a lot of people are, really struggling, and everybody's got their own challenges to go along with this thing, but there's got to be a way we can all come together and help each other get through it without putting someone in harm's way, whether it's ourselves, everyone that works in the casinos. And the other thing that I just saw on the news, because Georgia opened up today, that
right, yeah.
The governor went against everybody's advice and opened the city, and the mayor is not happy, and he didn't consult any of the other cities, and was basically saying, well, isn't it up to people to take care of themselves? Well, the thing is, some of the people that have jobs are feeling like if they don't go back to work, they can't collect unemployment. So it's this whole jumbled, complicated mess, and it just it's too soon. It's too soon, at least
Well,
by.
I mean, and here's the thing: whenever anything has happened in history, we can all sit there, 20 years later, 10 years later, however long later, and say, oh, well, if we had handled it this way, then the outcome would have been better. Or, oh, because you handled it this way, now this, other catastrophe took place. So, I mean, history is going to kind of determine whether or not we're making the right move. But, operating on the side of caution and saving lives, I don't think can ever be the wrong move.
Exactly. So,
yes, we just needed to get this off of our chest.
We just need to talk because we haven't been able to talk to anybody. I call myself like fairly introverted, which people don't believe me, but I'm like really good in like 1, 2, 5, 6, 8.
Yep.
Get me in a room of 50 and I'm just like, oh, when can I leave?
Yeah.
But
I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, oh, I'm exhausted. I need to go home.
Yeah, but with all this going on, I definitely am missing people. I'm missing the interaction. Yesterday I was home. Right now I'm obviously in my office because we have a freestanding building and our own entrance and we can come and go. And so
we have a beautiful
we have 2 full-time team members and we've been alternating days and then disinfecting when we leave.
Yeah.
Really, really careful. And so I've been out and about a little bit because I have construction sites that are in progress. And I've been wearing my mask and I've got my disinfectant in my little cup thing in the car, and it's funny because I was just at a job site this morning and the construction, crew kept kind of like inching in. We're talking about things and I kept inching back. It was like, nobody seems to be as concerned, but you know what? I love my life so much and I love my family so much that I'm going to err on the side of paranoia because I don't want anything to happen. And I'm gonna, douse myself with not disinfectant. We're not going down that road. Let's not even talk about it. I'm dousing
another conversation.
Yeah. The antibacterial is like happening, and I'm not even a germaphobe. I've never been a germaphobe. I've never been one of those people, but I'm following everything they're telling me to do because I love life and I want everyone around me to prosper and continue and get out of this as soon as possible.
Yeah, well, and then I have a daughter. She doesn't live with me, which is probably a good thing because she's an adult. But she had a kidney transplant almost 7 years ago. So she's on, immunosuppressant drugs, and her immune system just does not respond like a healthy person's immune system. So, I mean, we have to be very careful, around her. And, and it's funny because when I told her, she's like, well, are you still working? I'm like, yeah, not as much, but I am still working. She's like, okay, well, every time you show a home, you need to add another 2 weeks before you can see me again.
Oh, she's trying to
yeah. So she's like, she's like, I'm not taking any chances.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard. And, as Eileen and I know each other because our daughters are in school together,
Yeah.
we're in school together. And, we have a senior at home that prom dress is in the closet with plastic on it. No graduation. Like, think about that. Like,
I know.
It's not the worst thing. People not eating and not having jobs is the worst thing. And we all know how horrible that is. But on a miniature level, like the trickle down effect, I think every kid thinks about high school graduation and prom and homecoming and all those great things that happen. And it's all just poof. Okay, you're done with school. I'm kind of like, what? Like, what happened?
And you can't really discount it either for her because in her life up to this point, this may be one of the most, eventful things that have happened that is really going to make an impact on her.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So we're all just, figuring it out as we go along, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So my next question that we wanted to discuss was, how has this pandemic affected your business? Because you're an interior designer. a fabulous one at that. And so how has this really impacted what you do?
We made a change to our business about a year ago where we take on less projects and larger projects. So we have about 4 ongoing projects right now, and 2 of them are construction, complete construction. So that's going to continue because that's, considered essential, and we have to keep moving. So they didn't really stop moving, and they still need my advice and direction along the way. So I've just been much more having Zoom calls with the client, just trying to stay away. I really only go if it's absolutely necessary. And then, like I said, I look like the robber. I'm all done up. Nobody else is, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm dedicated to my health and everyone around me.
Right.
And we're trying to figure it out for like moving forward. And we actually had a client inquiry last week, which I about fell on the floor. I didn't think the phone would ring from now until forever.
Right.
And we figured out a way to work together, and this is how we did it. She FaceTimed me. First she called. We had the whole interview conversation to see if we were, something we could do, and it was. So I said, why don't you let me think about it for a minute? Because I just didn't even know how we were going to be able to do that right now. And then we talked again the next day after I sent her some information and that sort of thing. And I said, why don't we do a FaceTime call? Because I don't really understand what it is that you're looking for from us. So she walked around with her phone through the whole house. I met her husband on the phone. Hey, how are you? I was like, and that call took about a half an hour, and she explained everything that she needed. And then I said, okay, thank you so much. And she's like, I thought of something, Jill. I thought what we could do. Hello, my clients come up with ideas that I don't.
Yeah.
She says, we're going to be going out of town for 2 weeks, and we're going to put a lockbox on the door. Would you be comfortable coming in with a lockbox? And I thought about it, and I said, yeah, I think so. I'll wait like a week until she's gone, and still do protective everything and keep my distance. If I take a team member with me, we'll just be really smart, just look at it. And usually when we start a job, we only really go one time anyways. We take all the measurements, all the photographs we can, do all that so that we don't always have to run over to the house and be bothering the client. So really that one visit could be the only visit we do until it's ready to install. So that's how we're going to do it.
And that's what I'm kind of seeing, is that we kind of have 2 groups of people. So we do have that group that has already been utilizing technology, that they're just kind of tweaking what they're doing. And then we have the other camp who this is all brand new. I mean, this is any use of technology, doing anything virtually is just a new territory. So, but I mean, I think that most industries are adapting. I mean, it seems.
How's your industry adapting? What are you seeing? What are you like? Can someone still call you and say, hey, Eileen, I just moved to the area. We need to get into a home. We're renting a hotel. Like, what are you going to do different?
Well, and that is, so that's kind of part of it. So I deal with a lot of military who, when they get sent from one military base to another, I'd say probably 95% of the time, they never step foot in the city that they're moving to until that moving truck pulls up to the house.
For you, yeah.
So I've already been doing virtual tours where I will take, my camera and I upload them on YouTube. So I upload them on YouTube. I share the link of the home with them. A lot of times I end up sharing that link on YouTube for, whoever's looking.
Is it a video on YouTube, or are you doing, right? It's a short video of the house. Is that what you do?
Yeah. And I just walk through and a lot of people end up buying brand new construction. So those are kind of fun to do because you can walk through with it professionally staged, not with, the owners may not want to put, what they have in their home up on YouTube. But if it's a model home, it's much more available for you to just video whatever you want. But so that's what we've been doing. And then I let my sellers know. I mean, there are still people buying, there are still people selling. And I've just been letting my sellers know, listen, if there's a showing in your home, you need to turn on every light. You need to open every door. You need to make everything that anyone would want to see, you know, yeah, anything that, you know, if they want to see how deep the the cabinets are, or, you know, whatever, if they're soft clothes, you can open whatever cabinet, you know, open the pantry door, open the linen closet door so they can see how big it is. You know, that way, the only thing that and even the buyers aren't really touching it. This, you know, because the agent has to get the key out of the lockbox and they have to open the door. But honestly, if the sellers listen to my advice, then the only two things that those, you know, people are touching is, you know, the front door, maybe the back door, and the lockbox.
Oh yeah.
So
everything's open and they can see it all.
Yeah, everything's open, you know, because a lot of people, you'll go to a showing, all the lights are off, all the blinds are closed, you know, I mean, bedroom doors are shut, you know, so if we can kind of cooperate in this way. And then the other thing that I have been suggesting is that people leave their kids at home. So I'll get some people who will show, I mean, like us, we have 5 kids. So when we used to go look at homes, we had a truckload of people coming through.
Right.
You know, so, I mean, now what I've been doing is I'll take a video first and I'll say, okay, does this look like one that you need to see in person? Because this might be the house that you want. So if they say yes, then we'll go look at it. But, you know, we try to leave children at home. We try to leave grandparents at home. We try to just, you know, show the home to the people who are going to be signing on the dotted line.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's good.
Yes, we've made quite a few adjustments, but I think it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's also gonna do a little bit of narrowing down. Like, you're not gonna get so many looky-loos.
Right.
You know, imagine you have quite a few of those in real estate. I think people are gonna be serious when they're reaching out to a professional, because they all know, you know, it's a very different time and we all have to be much more careful.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's see, what was so we kind of already talked about what changes we've implemented in our business. So do you think that these are temporary, or do you think moving forward that you may keep some of the things that you're doing now?
I thought about that a little. I think I'll probably keep some of them. I mean, they're not really too far off from what we did before, because I would typically talk to someone, ask them to send me pictures first before I went across town.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'd be in the car all the time and I wouldn't be, you know, in the office to actually do the work that we need to be doing.
Right.
So there was always a little bit of visual pre-qualifying that we did before this, but now that it's dangerous, you know, for the time being, I'm thinking it's going to be this way for at least a year. It just depends on, you know, what happens, what goes around. And then the other change that I'm not sure how that's going to all pan out is the office. You know, like, I don't want to take any chances with Tiana or Zara, our full-time girls, either.
Right.
You know, because you can be asymptomatic and, you know, who knows what. So I have a feeling we're going to be doing this trading office days, you know, for quite some time, which is a positive for me, a positive and a negative. Like yesterday, I was home and it was a 3-ring circus, and I've got a yappy little cockapoo, Paris, and I've got, you know, 2 teenagers that, you know, listening to music and YouTube and running around, and Mark's calling me, and it's just like, like, I need solitude to like really create anything. And so I was literally in my living room at the console table sitting on an ottoman, because that was the only space I could find that was like so I really missed my office yesterday, but I couldn't come here because it wasn't my day. And so so I don't know how, I think, you know, that's going to stay that way for a while, but when it gets back to a little bit nicer, I think it's a positive, because I've enjoyed being out of the office more on one respect. You know, you saw me, I'm going for long walks on a Wednesday afternoon. Like, what?
Right.
Beautiful outside. The birds are chirping. Of course, it's spring. You know, in 2 months from now, it's going to suck for everyone. It's going to be really bad because we cannot go outside. It's going to be.
I know. I know. Even my daughter was out on the trampoline today, and she's like, "I can't be on the trampoline. It's too hot." And it was maybe like 80 degrees.
Yeah, I have a suntan right now. I literally just from walking outside. So, I mean, I think I will try to stay maybe 2 days, less at the office. I don't know. Just have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I like what you said about pre-qualifying, because that was always like a hard one starting in real estate to me, because it felt very forward, for me to insist on a pre-qualifying ahead of time. But, now it's becoming a necessity, because you do want to make sure that you're not dealing with looky-loos, because you're not just, they're not taking their life into their own hands going into these properties. Yeah, I mean, it's, realtors deal with safety issues all the time, especially women. So I'm already, very aware of my surroundings and who I take out, and I, Google everyone, because I want to make sure, that if I'm meeting with you, that you are who you say you are. And, and you can't always know, but I've been, very lucky and very fortunate. And, I have kids to raise. I have to be around. So, a lot of these implementations I think are going to be good.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So too. Yeah, and with the whole in our business, we typically produce a proposal before we do any work. And the one I was just talking about where the lady FaceTimed me through the house, I sent her the proposal and all that. I hadn't even met her face to face, and it felt a little bit uncomfortable, because usually you'll have that little bit of a personal interaction, right. Oh, see you, and you hug on your way out, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be fun. Instead, it's like, yes, this is the list of things to do. Here's your proposal. It felt really like I was missing a step. It felt a little bit odd. And then I didn't hear from her for 3 days, and I was like, oh yeah, forget it. It's not happening. You go through in your head, you're like, oh, what did I say? What could I have done different? How could I be better next time? Oh, it's not going to happen. I already told, my family and the crew. I was just like, no, I haven't heard from her. Usually if I don't hear from her the next day, it's done. Right. 3 days later, she's like, oh, sorry it took so long. I was like, really? So,
I think maybe too now, it's giving us the opportunity to introduce ourselves in a different way. Because I've actually started, I used to send email updates, and it was, I don't know, emails and texts are so strange. You can either really get your message across, or you come off like a bitch, or you come off too insistent, or you come off like you don't care. I mean, so it ends up where it's like you're not really relaying the message that you wanted to relay. So yeah. I've actually started giving my updates. I just take out my cell phone and I record a message for them. Hey, this is your weekly update. This is how many showings we had. This is how many offers we got. Yeah, I mean, so it might be even an opportunity to say, you do get somebody who inquires, you can just shoot them a real quick video. It was so nice to talk to you. Thank you so much for thinking of our company. We look forward to working with you. I mean, whatever that looks like, or it happens to be. And that way they kind of get a feel for who you are and how you talk, and and just they get to know you a little bit better.
A voice text or a little video message.
Yeah, either if your hair's nice and your makeup's done.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a really good tip. All of you social media girls out there, listen up. Only goes for girls, sorry, unless you want that. But I use my Instagram. It's got an eyelash.
Oh, the filter. Yeah,
you look like warmed over death, and you click that little eyelash filter, and it's like, it's in black and white. So it doesn't have to be perfect, because it's just more interesting. I use that thing all the time because yeah, today I did my makeup for you, my hair, and I did my own gray yesterday, dyed my own hair.
And so when we talked first thing this morning, Jill was dressed to the nines, getting ready to go for her appointment, and my hair was like all over the place, and I was in my robe.
Exactly. Now, if you would have had the Instagram filter, you would have looked like Kim Kardashian just woke up.
I could still be sitting here in my robe talking to you right now, and you wouldn't know the difference.
Exactly. It's the bomb. It's the best thing ever.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we're not always all put together and, you know, and all of that. So, okay. So let's see. Okay. So what about your business? This is kind of cut off. Let me see if I can see the whole question. So what do you want your clients to know about your business that you think they're afraid to ask?
They probably always just want to know, like, how expensive is it? How do you price things? You know,
Yeah.
can I afford it? Like I had somebody call a little bit ago, and it was like, well, I just looked at your website, and I don't know if I can afford you. You know, well, we put all the like really fabulous pictures on the website, right? The pictures on the website are the ones where we got to do the whole house, or maybe I got a tickle. They're the ones where we just kind of got the whole kit and caboodle. We didn't really have too many stops, but we also have more modest projects that we work on. And, you know, or maybe we're doing 1 or 2 rooms, and obviously not going to take like space on the website for a corner of something. But we typically do have a project minimum, but of course it's kind of a wobbly line right now because we're happy for any business coming in. There are definitely, somebody said master bath closet the other day, and I was like, I'm sorry, that's not the best fit for us. I'd prefer her to a closet organizer. But, you know, we typically charge a fee for service and a small markup on the furnishings, and I'm open to speaking with anyone about their project. So I don't think it should be like, it's not a big mystery. Once I understand, you know, what the project entails, and I can tell you right away if it's something that, you know, we look like a good fit for each other, because that's the most important thing, is having a good fit with the client. So occasionally I've taken on projects that were a little bit, you know, more modest or whatnot, just because I really like that person. I really want to work with them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really, for us, it's all about relationships, and it's always about that win-win. And you can just feel it. Like when I met you, I was like, oh, I love her. You know, like you can just feel it, especially if you've been dealing with, you know, people in the public for a long time. I think, you know, you've got to use your spidey sense, you've got to use your sixth sense, and you just know. And so it's, you know, it's always moving, you know, the business, you know, that's one good thing about being a company of 4 is when things change, we can change just like that. We don't have to, you know, consult with a large group of people.
Right.
We make the decision and we just make those changes.
Yeah. And that's a word that I'm hearing so much right now is, you know, pivoting. And I think that's what it is. You know, we have to find a way to pivot what we're doing so that, you know, we stay relevant to what the public needs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I know with me, the question that I get a lot is that, and it's usually after a bad experience where I can't help them. So, you know, but I get a lot of people who don't know that it doesn't cost them anything to use me for a new construction home. So, you know, people will go in and they want to go buy a new construction home, but, you know, the builders are getting pretty strict on if people walk into the property without an agent.
The first time.
They can't be represented by an agent. And there are companies that they're like, hey, listen, we understand, we know, you know, we'll let you represent them. But I don't think that they understand that it doesn't cost them anything, and that if they choose not to use an outside agent other than the builder agent, they're not represented because that agent represents the builder. Mm-hmm. So I think that's, you know, very important for people to know beforehand.
Where they go to the house,
Yeah.
So we moved here from California, and I always worked for builders. And it was different then. I don't know if it's when it changed or if it even changed, but in California, a realtor could not sell, an outside realtor like yourself could not go to the office and be part of the transaction. So when I came here and I found out that you could, I was like, wow, that's really different. So
I know that every state has their own, their own rules. So and there are some builders who are, like I said, much easier to work with than others. But and I have, friends who work for builders, and they'll tell you, listen, we'll work with you however we can, but they're also run by corporations, so they have to follow what the corporation says.
So how is it an advantage to have you on their side in a new home build?
Well, it's a lot of questions that they don't know to ask. So a lot of times they'll get into a situation where they're ready to sign on that dotted line, but they don't know how much money they need for an earnest money deposit. They don't know that maybe that lot premium is more. They don't know that they can negotiate. They don't know, to ask time frames. There's just a lot that goes into it that you're so I walk into model homes and I'm like, you just are like blown away by how beautiful they are, and all your senses go right out the window. And and before you know it, you're signing on that dotted line, and you don't know a lot of the costs, because even though, and I know they can explain it to you, they do. Honestly, they really do. They go through every document with you, let you know what everything says, but your focus is not on what you're actually signing.
Oh, absolutely. I still remember signing papers with Mark for our first house here and how many pages there were. And I was feeling this overwhelming anxiety because I didn't really understand like the importance of owning your own home at that point. And I just felt like I was signing my life away.
Yeah.
Like, what am I getting myself into here? And just kept signing. And they were speaking, and all I was hearing was wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with that.
Yeah. So I'm just an advocate, and I, even the same thing. So I've gone to design center appointments with people, and they're like, listen, I have to stay at this budget, because anything more than that, my payment is going to be so much. So I'm actually there kind of reminding them.
Oh, that's a good point.
Okay.
Remember, they don't know when you buy a new, that car doesn't come with a steering wheel. Like you have to build those things in. You're getting the drywall box and the standard carpet and the standard tile, and everything else costs more.
Yeah, I
decide really quick too. So one thing I want to interject in there is that something that we do if you ever have somebody that's, that just is completely overwhelmed by that design center experience. We've had plenty of clients where we go as their designer and help them design the interior spaces, and it's Toll Brothers or Richmond, whoever it was. We've done a couple of different ones now because we can see it and we've done through it 100 times, and they're not going to make a mistake. And they really do pressure you to like make some really important decisions in maybe a week or 2 or 3. And we're dealing with the aftermath of that right now on one of our projects. The owner didn't understand that their shower was not going to be 3 sides of slab, and so the mix of materials isn't to her liking, and she's actually going to probably redo it when she closes on the home. And I feel sad that money was like spent that didn't need to be spent.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, the features that you're picking at the design center, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm from a consumer standpoint, this is what I see, is that they're not what you would call design, quality elements or custom, elements, which a lot of times, I don't know. I mean, you could probably do them for, a more upgraded version of whatever it is that they're looking at for, comparable to what the builder's offering, because there's such a markup on all of that from what I have seen.
Yeah, there is such a markup. We did a home just at the end of last year, and the client basically just put everything basic in it, and then we did it over, which is really kind of sad environmentally because they won't let you go bare floor, so you have to rip out the in. So that's kind of a bummer. But I'll just give you one quick little story about that, and that's we were in the design center. I'm not going to name the builder because I don't want to get mad at me, but they wanted a freestanding tub, and the price they were quoted was near $10,000 for this tub. I got on build.com, which is still retail, and the same tub was $4,400. Are you kidding me? They made that decision right there to go, okay, never mind. We're just going to go standard everything. Jill's going to do it after close.
And that's even like faucets. Oh my gosh. I had clients who were going to pay through the nose for faucets. And I just looked on Home Depot and I'm like, look, this is a similar faucet. And it was like a third of the price, you know, and you're financing that amount for 30 years.
Oh.
It's actually costing you not just more toward, you know, the house, but even the interest. It's all added on that 30-year mortgage.
That's true.
You know, so I mean, so it takes you a couple of years to get it exactly how you want it, but you're not paying, you know, something that's going to cost you $10,000 today by the end of your mortgage could cost you $50,000. You know? So, I mean, it's, you know, and that's just, you know, me being obnoxious. I don't know if it would cost you $50,000.
Right on the money. I mean,
I'm just trying to make a point.
No, it's definitely a lot more, you know. It's kind of like, you know, the builders are kind of like the casinos. They have gambling and then they have all the restaurants and the shopping. And they make a whole lot of money over there too, and that's your design center. So,
and that's what we couldn't figure out either, because I know, like, when Aaron and I first got married, you used to be able to do a bare floor close. So I don't know when that or why that changed, you know, because I mean, I have clients, same thing. They put the cheap free tile in, you know, and then they go and tear it all up so that they can put something else on the floor. Yeah. So craziness. Definitely. So any other questions? Did you have anything else?
Do you, besides, so what about your home buyers that are in town and want to go see? Are you still going to do it the same way? Where are you going to go ahead and video first and then show them the video and see if they want to investigate further?
Yeah, because what happens is I get a lot of people, and I mean, and I do it myself. I'll see a property online. I'll look through the pictures. I love how it looks. I walk through the space, and it's a completely different feel than what I saw in the pictures. The flow is different. Just, you know, the feeling as you're walking through doesn't feel like you want your home to feel. So yes, I am going to still be doing it the same way.
Yeah, photography can be misleading. It can also sell your house really well, right? You get a angle, but it's just like, think about when you photograph even yourself. You know, I can make myself have a double chin and all that, or I can, you know, do the filter or whatever. It's the same thing with the house. You know, it really, I'm surprised by that too, because I'll go on like Zillow or Redfin before I go over to the client's house, and then when I go inside, it feels smaller, bigger, different, you know, all that sort of thing. So, do you think that, I know that there's people that specialize in real estate photography. Yeah. I think probably video is now going to be pretty darn big too. People that do that professionally for the house, you know,
I'm sure. Normally I video it myself. Mainly for cost effectiveness.
Oh yeah.
Because they'll go in and they'll edit and they'll add music and they'll, you know, the lighting is just right and they can change the lighting if they want to, you know, and that costs quite a bit of money, you know. So I don't quite need it that professional. I'm not actually selling that particular, you know, property. I just want people to get a feel of it. And then, I mean, and I kind of, in my own very non-techie way, I add I add music to it. I add, you know, I have an editing software that I use, you know, and I add information on there and all of that. But yeah, it's definitely not professional grade because I
No,
use
you
my
did that little
iPhone.
video with us, and you had the light ring, and you had it going on, and that was before all this happened. So at least you got a little jump start on figuring this all out, right?
Well, and that's what I mean. I think there's people who like, because I honestly started doing this, I want to say a year ago in May. And so I kind of had a jump on, you know, doing things virtually. But now I mean, it's even grown more than that because, you know, and it's funny, I don't normally post, I post the videos on YouTube. I don't normally post a lot of videos on like Instagram or on Facebook of homes because I don't like just
Privacy
continually, huh?
It just splashed right on my face. What about the privacy factor too, right? These people maybe don't want their home like.
Well, yeah, so that's what I've been doing is either vacant homes or model homes. And so like, and there's a ton of, it's interesting because a lot of people now, well, I guess all the time, have actually preferred to move out and then sell their home empty. So, you know, people who need that cash to move on to their next home, they will stay in their home until it sells usually. But yeah, so I would definitely have to get some sort of waiver if I was going to walk in and it was, you know, like an owner occupied property. And if it's owner occupied, I don't put that for public view on YouTube. But like I posted a home tour today on Instagram. And I mean, I got actually a lot more engagement on that platform than I do on YouTube.
And now we have working at home.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody rang the doorbell. Mushu, go outside. He's like, I'm protecting you.
There you go.
So see this, I'll just edit that part out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I mean, it took me so long to learn the software and kind of to get comfortable with being on camera and not to nitpick myself to death and all of that. So yeah, I mean, I did kind of get into this a little bit ahead of the curve, which is good because if I had to do it now, I'd probably be totally overwhelmed.
Yeah, there's too much all at once.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait till we can sit and have a coffee one day.
I know. And I need, so I have plans. I finally have plans for like my wall behind me, my wall in my dining room. So that's why I asked the other day about the wallpaper.
Yeah, I have lots of wallpaper here. Boxes and boxes of wallpaper. So yeah, you can come over and I can say they're over there. Just dig in.
With your mask on.
Yeah.
I told my husband, because he's got this mask that he wears, and I said, oh, look, you get to dress up for Halloween all year long because he loves Halloween as his favorite holiday.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I know. I actually, so last year for Halloween, I dressed up, which I'm not big on Halloween, but I go along with it because good friends of ours always have a party. But last year I was a big cookie. So I think I'm going to start wearing that. It just makes sense because I'm just got a sweet tooth and I just can't quit eating the cookies, you know. Like a big chocolate chip cookie, and then I got my glass of wine in my hand. That pretty much sums up my diet these days now.
Yeah,
you know,
like, exactly. That's me too.
So it's for me not so much the wine; it's more the carbohydrates and the sweets. I cannot.
Well, if I get like anxious or frustrated or, you know, anything, then it's all carbs. Mm-hmm. It's like everything that I was doing just goes right out the window.
Right out the window, yeah.
I'm right there with you, sister.
Well, what's that one little like magnet. Like, if I can't be skinny, let all my friends be fat. There you go. We've got sparkling personalities, so what the heck?
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, I will post all of mine and Jill's information at the bottom of this video, so that if you do have design questions, or you have real estate questions, or you want to commiserate with us about things that our mayor says, you can just reach out to us, and we would love to hear from you. And other than that, we will see you the next time.
All right. Thanks.